Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Campus Consortium's grant webinar featuring $150,000 Student Portal Grant Award winner, St. Mary's University. In today's presentation, Mr. Arturo Salinas will share his journey on how the university received this grant and how you can apply for a similar grant. Now, before we begin, we would like to thank our dear sponsors for all their support, without which we would not have been able to bring these webinars to you. As you can see, some of our sponsors are Unified, Quick Launch, Black Belt Health, Salesforce, and if you would like to become one of our sponsors, you too can send an email to sharon.das@campusconsortium.org. Our presenters today include Mr. Arturo Salinas, who is a portal administrator at St. Mary's University in San Antonio, Texas, and Mr. Roger Mills, Manager Community Engagement at Campus Consortium. We'll take any questions at the end of today's presentation that have been typed into your chat box or questions pane in GoToWebinar control panel. Now, without further ado, please allow me to present to you Mr. Mills and Mr. Salinas. Over to you, Mr. Mills.
Thank you for that warm introduction there, Chris. Like I was saying, a very warm welcome to our audience today, and it is approximately 2 p.m. in Chicago, and we are looking to go ahead and talk about how St. Mary's University utilized the grant and took their student engagement portal live. Apart from that, we will be sharing details about the grant and how you can apply for the same. And Campus Consortium is basically a nonprofit organization aiming to reduce costs to help out institutions. We were started in the year 2003 by 14 universities, Case Western Reserve University to name one. And recently our grant award winners that we have that recently received the grant was Everett University, Johnson C. Smith University, Kentucky Wesleyan, and Delaware State University, just to name a few. Moving on to the next slide, here are a couple more winners, Roanoke Community College, Shenandoah University, Oregon State University as well. And moving on to the next slide, so we're going to be talking about the Student Portal Grant, which is what St. Mary's University had applied for, and this was a $275,000 grant, which covered about 1,000 users for about 5 years. And moving on, the benefits of the Student Portal grant is it is out of the box, it's easy to use, it helps to cut costs, and we're going to move on to our presenter, Arturo Salinas. And I'm just going to introduce Arturo. He is very passionate about the never-changing world of technology and software development. He has been pivotal in bringing various implementations, including the Unified Student Portal, Quick Launch Single Sign-On, Student Engagement mobile app, and most recently, the Self-Service Password Manager with multi-factor authentication and Student Engagement Portal to the university. Art provides portal support to St. Mary's University. And now I'm going to go ahead and bring Arturo for a voice test. Arturo, can you hear me?
Hi, Roger. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
So I'm going to pass over the controls to you, and you may begin.
So welcome, everybody. Roger, thank you for that introduction. I just want to go ahead and just start, I guess, kind of with the presentation itself. So on the presentation, we have a case study, which is the university I work for is St. Mary's University here in San Antonio, Texas. So just a little background, we were founded back in 1852, much like some of the other Texas universities here in the state. We are a private four-year college, private four-year university. We have a total enrollment of around or just over 2,000 students. So even though we're kind of a long-founded university, we do kind of keep to that smaller enrollment. We keep class sizes small in order to order to better help the students have kind of that one-on-one time for faculty and student relationships. In terms of the technology that we use, we go with the Lucian Banner as our ERP system. It houses the majority of our student data. We use Banner as well for other modules like HR, finance. Business Office does have modules in there that do get used. It is our authoritative source for the student information and for HR and finance. So we do leverage Banner in terms of their database. As for our LMS system, we recently switched over to Canvas. We were Blackboard, but faculty and students have liked the new Canvas environment as well. It was a good change. It was a good switch for both students and faculty. And recently, we have also launched the mobile app, which is through Unified, which is also a partner vendor for the consortium. Some major highlights, I guess, that we have on here is that we're ranked second in the West region in the Best Valued Schools ranking. And moving along, we also have our project objective. So for St. Mary's University, the desire was to basically leverage the consortium's grant to provide students, faculty, and staff with a portal, with a platform where they could be able to view any messages, important messages, and launch off into third-party systems like our LMS, which is Blackboard, which was Blackboard and is now Canvas. Also, like our integration services with like email or Office 365. We wanted the portal to be able to house all that information and be able to have kind of like a central source for all these features that we provide to our community. So we could go on with the next slide. So the problem statement or challenges before we could kind of move on to with this portal platform, because we originally started with Lucian's Luminous portal, and our faculty and staff in the community were somewhat pleased with it, but we went from Luminous 4 to Luminous 5 and they lost some features there. However, we knew we wanted a new portal and a new environment where the community can actually interact in and kind of leverage the portal system for what it really was, for what it really wanted. We wanted it to use it for. Sorry. And so some of the challenges were that we had no central documentation repository. We had, for third-party systems, users had multiple usernames and passwords. So lack of a unified one-stop shop platform wasn't really there. We had some integration services with Luminous, but not to the extent that we have now with the new unified platform. We didn't have any integration email services within the portal. We knew we wanted that, and that was a major factor and a major deciding factor for why we went with the grant and why we decided to leverage the unified portal. So we also wanted to make sure that it had integration with like Office 365 and Canvas, and also integration with Banner. Kind of the things that we already were providing to the community, we wanted them to be easily accessible within the portal itself. So if we go to the next slide, you would see that we were able to overcome all these challenges, and we were able to leverage the Campus Consortium grant, and by use of the vendors that they work with, which is like Quick Launch and Unified, we were able to provide kind of a one-stop shop for all of these issues that we were trying to overcome, which was, being able to have, one username, one password, having people log into the portal and then, single sign on to like our third-party systems, being able to have them view email within the portal and not having to necessarily click onto or open up another site or window. We were also able to provide some information from Banner within the portal without having to actually go into the Banner system itself. And thanks to the grant, we were able to provide all of those things. So we were able to work closely with the consortium's vendors, which I mentioned were Unified and Quick Launch, to get us, all of that setup done, and they did it with any customizations that we needed. So we're kind of a small shop here, and so they did a lot of the legwork in terms of helping us build and design and style some things for within the portal and also within like the quick launch area. So now we do have a centralized, place for our community to go and view any important messages or view, certain information that will pertain directly to the university itself. I believe I could just go ahead and show you kind of the things that were set up and that are possible with the grant. So I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this page here. So here we have kind of like a rolling background. So on our login page, so this is really like our IDE that is, this is kind of our central login page for the portal and other third-party systems that we've linked through what is called our Quick Launch SSO. So if I go ahead and log in here, sorry. You can go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and kind of demo our portal quickly. So before the presentation was set up, I did set up kind of a message from within the portal to kind of display its some of the features that we have available to us. So one of the features is a message center. So the message center allows us to create either targeted messages or general community messages within the portal and allow them to they can either like pop up within the portal, or they can just simply be shown like as a pending viewable message. So in this instance, I had it to where it shows kind of a pop-up window. It kind of more like of an alert, like, hey, there's something going on. There is a way for acknowledgement, so we know when an individual has viewed a message and has acknowledged that they have viewed the message. So once the message has been acknowledged, it goes away. If you ever need to go back and reference the message, we have the message center portlet here, which is provided out of the box. So that is included within the grant. Of course, everything that I'm going to show you is included within the grant, as well as kind of like the styling. This billboard thing up here, this was a customization made internally by myself. So that just kind of goes to show you that even though this solution is hosted, we do have the ability to go ahead and customize to our own will. And the vendors within the consortium that are part of the consortium work greatly with individuals or even with the universities to really get what and provide them with what they need. So back to the message center, if you want to go back and view the particular message, you can through here. So it is HTML you can provide HTML within the message, so you can design and style it to however you wish. You can get really nice and fancy with it, or you can kind of do what I did here. I just pretty much just took a screenshot and then placed it as a message. So other parts of the portal, which is that I mentioned earlier, was email integration. So the email integration is provided via this email dashboard. So the email dashboard allows anyone who logs into the portal the ability to view messages within the Office 365, within their Office 365 email account, right within the portal. So they get kind of like, you know, what are my top 25 messages, new messages that are kind of in my inbox. So if they view like kind of like what's going on, they can click on a particular message and it'll open up and SSO them right into the Office 365 environment, right into their Outlook. So you see here that it did launch, and so it's going to go now to that one particular message and open it up for me. And there we go. So there's, and this was related in particular to Microsoft Flow that we were working on. So that is very neat, a really cool feature. And then if a student just wants to individually go to like just their general inbox, they don't want to click a particular message, we did create this button for them. So when they click here, it just simply opens Outlook inbox. So that was a nice feature. More of like the kind of quick launch SSO area. So single sign-on, we do have third-party systems like our Canvas system is integrated through quick launch SSO. So if we go ahead and click that, it should log us in and automatically single sign us on to Canvas, which it did here. So we have one course, and from here on, I can go ahead and do whatever I need to do within Canvas. So that's really kind of convenient for users. So they can, what happens is like they kind of come in the morning, they log into the portal, they check, you know, do I need to view anything or respond to anybody in email? Do I need to know anything important that's going on within the university? You know, we have other things that, we have the calendar on this side, which the calendar itself did come out of the box. They are able to view, you know, what's going on within the university, you know, public and internal. And then if they need to get to, you know, get to work, they can click on Canvas and open up Canvas and single sign them on, or they can go to Office 365 and get that done. Also, there's a couple other things, kind of like Atomic Learning. Atomic Learning is another third-party system that we can SSO directly into. It's just kind of training and different exercises that you can, it's a site for exercises and training that you can go and view that are provided by the university here. So that's also kind of a useful thing. If I go ahead and go to kind of the student area, so the My Education page, so we also leveraged our portal and the grant to kind of create also what acts kind of as an intranet. So we have a whole bunch of other pages besides just like third-party integrations, but in terms of this page in particular, it's linked to student information. So students come and they click on the My Education area and they can go ahead and view, like in particular, select semester, find my books. So basically, it'll go query any classes that you have and tell you what textbooks you might need. That was kind of a customization that we integrated into the portal. So like I said, once you're able to leverage the grant and once you're able to get the portal, you can go ahead and customize it to your liking. So students also have a whole bunch of information here where they can get to stuff like the registrar's office. So registrar is in charge and able to maintain this area on this particular page. So we do kind of have that maintainability so that not one person has to particularly update or maintain a particular page. So we basically just show this portlet, which is also on our register page, and let students just kind of click on and let the registrar manage the information that they need to share with students. So other integrations, like I mentioned earlier with Banner, is kind of like the student work study balance. So here I have like our test account and their authorized available $3,000. So they could kind of go and see this information without actually having to go to the Banner system itself. They can just kind of view that information within the portal. So that's kind of a nice integration that happens all on its own. A couple other, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and show you some information for faculty. So faculty page is set up similar. So basically, this is an area where faculty can come and view their particular faculty schedule. So this is an integration, another integration area that we have with for Banner. Their faculty dashboard as well. So faculty information is also done here, and any related links that faculty need to get to or need to log into quickly are found here, as well as any faculty grade assignments that they would need to do. This is an integration with Banner as well, so this portlet comes available to you out of the box. You do need to configure it slightly, but the configuration is really easy. It's just a couple of parameters that you need to set and input, and then from then on it just kind of does its thing. I kind of want to go quickly and also show you another feature of our what is called Quick Launch. So Quick Launch itself, I keep mentioning that it has SSO integration, but I haven't really showed you what it is. Quick Launch has kind of its own area. So if I go and log into the Quick Launch area itself, we can go ahead and view that. Oh, okay. So what happened here is that we've, like Roger mentioned earlier, we've also just recently now integrated or implemented multi-factor authentication. So since this user has not updated their information for their password and multi-factor authentication, it's asking them to log in and set that up. So that I could kind of take you through that process as well. So it knows that this user hasn't set up their account recovery settings, and so this is kind of part of the multi-factor authentication that is provided. So you could go ahead and update this information. And so we could do email recovery. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and also do a phone recovery. So I'm going to say United States. So then it sends a verification code to my phone. And once it's verified, we can continue. And so now we can continue on to the Quick Launch area. So this is kind of the interface for Quick Launch. It allows us to add individual links that we can either SSO into, or just links that have that are part of our third-party systems that we just generally use. So this is kind of a neat area. They can like filter and search stuff for like banner. Now it says banner self-service. If I click that, it should SSO into banner. So yeah, and then we could go and view our personal information and stuff like that. So if we look for students, we can go directly to like our student account, and that launches us into self-service, so that student account. You can also go into the student profile, which will launch us into the Banner 9 student profile. So at this point, I'm going to stop and see if there's any questions. There's maybe anything someone wants to see.
Hey there, Arturo. This is Roger. We do have a question. We actually have a couple of them. So do you want to take them now, or do you want to finish your demo?
No, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and take these questions.
Great. All right. So one question that I got was, what kind of feedback have the students and faculty provided you since you had gotten the tool, the student portal?
Right. So the feedback has been mostly positive. It's been very positive since we've gotten the portal. They do have a couple of things that they have mentioned in particularly, which is let's see. So they like the billboards. It's kind of like in their face. It gets them knowing what's going on right away. They definitely liked the calendar area, because it lets them know at a quick glance what's going on. They can customize the calendar itself in terms of like viewing, things for academic, things for admissions, just, athletics, or just general information, stuff for law school, student activities. So if you want to like only view information about law school, they have the ability to do that. So that's a positive feedback that we have. They like the ability to single sign on to individuals. Some negative feedback that we've had, if you want to know negative feedback, is that they don't like that Gateway times out. So they want to kind of like be in Gateway all the time. They kind of go and they open it and they just kind of have it right in the background. So eventually it does time them out, so it's for security issues. So that does happen. Is there any other question? I hope that answers that.
Great, thank you. The other question that I got was from the audience. What all third-party applications did St. Mary's integrate?
So most of our third-party applications are here on the SSO Launchpad. So we do have these directly SSO into our third-party applications. So we have GivePulse, Gateway Self-Service, that's basically our Banner 9. We have a StarRez housing application. So if a student needs to go into housing, they can SSO directly into their application or the StarRez housing software. We have Office 365, so from there they can get into their email, they can get into SharePoint, they can get into Teams, all that kind of stuff that Office 365 provides. We have a meal plan center. We've set that up kind of as a SSO that they log into and they can manage like their meal plans. We have a Rattler patient portal, so this is for health center. They have a portal for student health needs. We have SSO integration for that. Rattler Careers and Rattler Track are kind of also similar, related. So Rattler Careers is for our career center. So any individuals that need to get in contact with our career center, or they want help, or they want to post like their portfolio or their resumes, or get help with their resumes, they go to the career centers. Rattler Tracks is basically for student organizations, so it allows student-run organizations, their area, to kind of help run and manage their particular organization. And of course, we have Canvas and Atomic Learning, which I did show you. There's a couple, maybe like one or two others that are only for certain individuals that we did integrate with. However, they're just kind of like administrative purposes, like for the Dean of Students and maybe like the law school as well. So about like 10 to 12 SSO integrations through Quick Launch. And we do plan to add more. We just have to get the time to do that. Is there maybe another question? I hope that answers that.
Great, thank you. I do have another one. They're asking, can Arturo show how a student would apply to the college as well as register for a class?
Okay, so so the applying to the university is not within the portal itself. We have Slate. Slate is what we use for recruitment. So that's mainly like on the public page. Students go and search for admissions. So once they go to their home page, if I can correct the address, right? So that's academics. They can go to applying, or they can just apply here. And so it basically takes them to what are you going to be, you transfer, international. But all of this is like on the public site itself. It's not really related to the portal. So actually, other than the third-party integrations or third-party vendors, we do have like custom applications that we've allowed to like single sign-on into. So if I go ahead and log out and log in as myself, I think I can show you that. Oh. So there's our multi-factor authentication. So we do have what is called a campus campaign. So basically it allows us to give back to the university in terms like faculty and staff donating through like payroll deductions or credit card. So if we want to go in and do like payroll deduction, this is a custom standalone third-party app that we've integrated users sign in into. So if I wanted, I could go ahead and fill out this information, and it'll allow me, and it'll record like a payroll deduction request for giving back to the university. So as you can see, like it from the CAS integration, it's able to pick up my username and also my full name. And once you get the username, you're able to link back into any third-party system and get any information that you need from it. So for in this instance, it'll link back into Banner and able to pull data from Banner and display it into like any other application that you kind of SAML or CASify. So maybe if there's any other questions that you need answered.
All right. The last question that I got is, let me see here. How long did it take St. Mary's University to implement the student portal?
So the student portal, so the implementation from the vendor, the unified vendors didn't take very long at all. They're kind of, they're pros at like setting up the infrastructure and stuff. They've done it for several universities, and they're able to kind of get the framework up and running quickly. What really took longer was like the design. Since we moved from a portal that was pretty much like bare bones, it didn't have much of all the content that we currently have now within our portal. It took longer to design and kind of think out like what the navigation is going to be like, what are the pages going to look like. So it was kind of a big project that we kind of recruited our communications department. We had them have some buy-in, and we collaborated with them, and they helped us, design kind of like the page layouts, and maybe, they gave us the official colors, and, they kind of signed off on the design. So it did take a good, I want to say like 4 months or so, 4 to 5 months to like actually hash out and get everything set up for go live. But the actual framework didn't take very long at all. Maybe took like a month or two, and then a lot of the stuff afterwards was just setting up the SSO configuration, setting up the moving content from, because what we did was we moved content from our public page, from our public website into our portal. So there was a lot of stuff that was on our public website, and our communications department did not like that it was a lot of information or content that was specific or for internal use only. So what they liked about the portal was that they could move all that stuff out of the public site and push it into the portal and kind of have an area for it, and then just concentrate the public site for, like the recruitment and for, basically as the branding for the university. So I hope that answers that. So yeah, if you, it's definitely not like it's definitely not like a small project, especially for us, because we kind of run like a small team here at the university. We're not that big of a university, so we don't have that large of a teams. So which is why we recruited our communications department to come and help us as well. And we did a lot of kind of show and tells and feedback. So we did do like a lot of demonstrations for like the students and faculty, and we got their input before we went live. So we did kind of give them a preview as to what we had been planning, and kind of showed them like, hey, this is what the new portal could look like, and we got feedback from them, and we were able to incorporate the feedback and kind of allow the students and faculty help mold how the internal portal would look like and feel like, and what kind of information it would provide. That's a good question. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And is there anything else that you're going to be presenting for us today?
No, I think I kind of ran through a lot of the major integrations and setups that we have. I don't know if there's anything particular that you'd like me to demo.
No, you pretty much showed everything that needed to be shown. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And absolutely. And the current grants that are open now for Campus Consortium is the Student Portal Grant, which is actually the deadline for that is on Monday, which is December 3rd. And we've got the Self-Service Password Manager, the Single Sign-On Grant, as well as the Attendance Tracking Grant. So all of these grants are due by December 3rd, and the next set of grants are due on January 14th, which is a GDPR assessment grant, Artificial Intelligence for Enrollment Help Desk grant, which is January 31st, and Artificial Intelligence for IT Help Desk, which is also for January 31st. And Office 365 Migration, Campus Safety Grant, Multi-Factor Authentication, and After Hours Help Desk Grant. All of these grants are going to be coming up very soon. And I got another question. I hope you don't mind answering that for us, Arturo.
No problem.
Great. How easy is it to deploy this application at another institution?
Okay. So in terms of deployment, so like in terms of when we implemented it, like I said, it wasn't like a very hard task, just getting the infrastructure up. Basically how it works is you get together with the vendor, in this case Unified, and they give you kind of discovery documentation. Once you fill out the discovery documentation, they accept it. They kind of review and double check with you what else is needed, or if everything that you sent them will work with their setup. And then they'll go ahead and do the heavy lifting to set up the infrastructure. Once that happens, they come back. Of course, we're having meetings in between just in case, there's any discrepancies or there's any questions between the discovery documentation and the setup that they have to do. So if once they come back with the setup that it's done, they kind of release it to you and let you know that, hey, here's your infrastructure of whatever you're setting up. And if it's in terms of like the portal or the multi-factor authentication or quick launch, like it all kind of works the same way in terms of how they set you up, and in terms of that whole, the whole process works. So like I said, it goes through discovery documentation, it goes back to the vendor, they do the whole infrastructure setup, and then they come back and make sure that everything is to your desire. If you need like certain customizations at that time, you can let them know. It's always best to like let them know up front about customizations, because that way they can help build it into the total cost of the products. But they are always very helpful and willing to get you get you to a place that you need to be. So if there's something specific for your university, they're very much willing to get it done, and they'll take it back to their development team and see if it's a possibility, and try their very best to get your specific needs done for you.
Great. So basically, St. Mary's University really didn't have to do much, but it was all done by the vendor.
Right. In terms of like the framework setup, yeah. And then like if styling and stuff, styling, if you want to, there was an option to have them do like an initial styling, and then you kind of sign off, and then you can also like say, oh no, I kind of want it to look more like this, and they'll make the changes for you. So yeah, a lot of the heavy lifting is done by the vendor.
Excellent.
And
Thank you for answering that question. And like I was saying, these are the ongoing grants and the upcoming grants as well. And if you have any questions about the grants, you can always send an email to grantapplication@campusconsortium.org, and or you can always call us up, and either Chris or I will take that call for you. I do want to thank you, Arturo, for taking out a lot of your time today for us for this presentation. And thank you to the audience as well. And this is Campus Consortium. We're going to be signing off.